Life has a way of moving forward whether we're ready for it or not. It doesn't pause to wait for our doubts to settle or for the perfect moment to arrive. Opportunities come and go, often slipping through our fingers before we even realize they were there. And the harsh truth is, most of the time, they don't come back. Hesitation has a sneaky way of disguising itself as caution. We tell ourselves we're just thinking things through, weighing the pros and cons. But deep down, that hesitation is fear, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of the unknown. And fear? Well, it's persuasive. It convinces us that waiting is the safer choice, that maybe if we give it more time, the path will become clearer. But life doesn't work like that. The path becomes clear after we take the first step, not before. Think about how many times you've wanted to speak up, chase a dream, or try something new. Maybe it was an idea that sparked excitement, a sudden invitation that made your heart race, or a goal that felt just out of reach. But instead of acting on it, you waited. You let the questions swirl. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people judge me? And while you waited, the moment passed. The world moves quickly. The job opportunity that seemed perfect could be gone tomorrow. The person you wanted to talk to might not be there next time. The door that cracked open won't stay open forever. And the saddest part, you'll never know what could have been if you never took the chance. It's not that caution is bad. Thoughtfulness has its place. But when caution turns into constant delay, it becomes a prison. The only way to break free is to act, to say yes, to try, to risk. Even if you stumble, even if it doesn't go as planned, you'll be miles ahead of where you would have been if you had done nothing at all. Because life favors the bold, and it keeps moving, with or without you. Greatness has never been found in comfort. It's not born from the routine or the predictable. It comes from the moments that make your heart pound, your palms sweat, and your mind race with uncertainty. Taking a risk, a real risk, means stepping into the unknown without any guarantee of success. It means daring to dream beyond the boundaries of what feels safe and familiar. And while comfort might offer a sense of security, it will never offer the kind of fulfillment that only comes from chasing something extraordinary. Playing it safe is tempting. It's easy to convince yourself that staying within your comfort zone is the responsible choice. After all, the world constantly warns us about the dangers of failure. We're taught to avoid mistakes, to plan every move carefully, and to never take unnecessary chances. But what's rarely acknowledged is that the greatest danger often comes from not taking any risks at all. When you refuse to challenge yourself, you deny yourself the opportunity to grow. You stay stagnant, watching from the sidelines as others pursue the dreams you were too afraid to chase. The people who achieve remarkable things aren't the ones who never stumble. They're the ones who are willing to stumble and still keep going. Every success story is woven with moments of uncertainty and failure. The entrepreneur who faced bankruptcy before building a thriving business. The artist who endured rejection after rejection before their work was finally celebrated. The athlete who pushed through injury and defeat to stand victorious. What separates them to luck or talent alone, it's their willingness to risk failure in pursuit of something greater. When you take a risk, you give yourself a chance to grow in ways you never could have imagined. You learn resilience, you build courage, you discover strengths you didn't know you had, and even if the outcome isn't what you hoped for, the experience itself is invaluable. Failure, while painful, is often the most powerful teacher. It sharpens your instincts, strengthens your resolve, and prepares you for the next opportunity, but none of that is possible without the initial leap. You can't climb a mountain without risking the fall. You can't write a story worth telling without facing the fear of a blank page. And you certainly can't live an extraordinary life by clinging to the illusion of safety. The choice is yours. Remain comfortable and unchanged, or step forward into the unknown and see just how far you can go. Betting on yourself is one of the hardest, yet most important decisions you will ever make. It's easy to wait for validation, hoping someone else will see your worth and give you permission to go after what you want. But the truth is, if you don't believe in yourself first, no one else will. People are often hesitant to support what they don't understand or what they haven't seen succeed yet. That's why it's your job to stand firmly in your own potential, even when the world remains unconvinced. Believing in yourself doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It means acknowledging the obstacles ahead and choosing to move forward anyway. It means recognizing that fear and doubt will show up, but refusing to let them control your decisions. There will be moments when no one claps for you, when the people around you question your choices, and when you feel completely alone in your pursuit. But in those moments, your belief in yourself is what will keep you standing. The most successful people weren't handed their confidence, they built it. They faced rejection, criticism, and failure, but they didn't allow those experiences to define them. Instead, they used them as fuel. Every setback was a reminder that they were trying, that they were in the game, while others stood on the sidelines. They understood that failure wasn't a reflection of their worth, but a necessary part of growth. And most importantly, they knew that no external approval could replace the power of self-belief. When you bet on yourself, you're making a declaration. You're saying that your dreams are worth pursuing even if the path is uncertain. You're refusing to let the opinions of others dictate your future, and while it's comforting to have support, you can't rely on it. People's perspectives are shaped by their own fears and limitations. They may project their doubts onto you not because they want you to fail, but because they can't see beyond their own experiences. That's why your belief must be unwavering. You have to be willing to advocate for yourself. Speak your dreams into existence. Take action even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not because they doubt you, but because they see your potential and want to see you grow. And when people underestimate you, let it serve as a reminder that your vision isn't meant for everyone to understand. It's meant for you to bring to life. Betting on yourself also means accepting that growth is uncomfortable. It requires risk. It demands effort when there's no visible reward in sight. But every time you choose to keep going, you're strengthening the belief you have in yourself. You're proving to yourself that you are capable of handling setbacks, adapting to challenges, and continuing forward. That resilience becomes your greatest asset. It's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. And remember, belief isn't about arrogance. It's not about convincing yourself that you're better than others or that you'll never fail. It's about knowing that you are worthy of the goals you're striving for. It's about trusting that no matter how many times you fall, you have the strength to stand back up. Others may doubt you, they may question your path, but your belief is what will turn possibilities into realities. No one can believe in you the way you can believe in yourself. Others may offer encouragement, but their voices will never be as powerful as your own. So bet on yourself, with conviction, with courage, and with relentless determination. Because the moment you choose to believe in your own potential, you've already won half the battle. Failure has a way of making us question everything, our abilities, our decisions, even our worth. It stings, it lingers, it whispers in our minds, reminding us of the moment things didn't go as planned. But failure isn't the enemy. In fact, it's one of the most valuable parts of the journey. Without failure, there's no growth. Without mistakes, there's no learning. Every stumble, every misstep, every fall, they're all stepping stones, leading you closer to success. The problem is that we're often taught to fear failure. From a young age, we're conditioned to believe that making mistakes is something to avoid at all costs. Bad grades, missed opportunities, rejected applications. Society labels these as failures, as evidence that we're not good enough. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Failure isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you tried. It means you put yourself out there, took a risk, and dared to go beyond your comfort zone. And that in itself is something to be proud of. Some of the most successful people in history have failed more times than they can count. Innovators, artists, athletes, they all have stories of setbacks that could have easily stopped them in their tracks. But what sets them apart is their refusal to let failure define them. They understood that failure wasn't the end, it was a lesson. Every rejection, every loss, every disappointment taught them something valuable. It revealed what didn't work, what needed improvement, and what could be done differently. With each failure, they grew stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the next challenge. The truth is, success and failure are not opposites. They are intertwined, each one shaping the other. You can't truly appreciate success without experiencing the sting of failure. It's the struggle that makes the victory so much sweeter. The resilience you build in the face of failure becomes your greatest asset. It's what keeps you moving forward when everything in you wants to stop. And that persistence, that's what eventually leads to success. But to embrace failure, you have to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing it as a reflection of your inadequacy, see it as evidence of your courage. Every failure means you were willing to try, and every time you try, you increase your chances of success. You become more skilled, more knowledgeable, and more equipped to handle whatever comes next. Failure isn't a sign that you're on the wrong path. It is often a sign that you're on the right one. The path that challenges you, tests you, and forces you to grow. It's also important to remember that failure isn't permanent. Just because something didn't work out today doesn't mean it never will. Circumstances change, skills develop, opportunities arise. What may feel like a devastating failure now could eventually become the very thing that propels you forward. Many people look back on their failures and realize that they were necessary detours, leading them to a success they couldn't have reached otherwise. So, don't fear failure. Expect it. Welcome it. Let it teach you, shape you, and push you. Every time you fall, you're one step closer to where you're meant to be. Success isn't reserved for those who never fail. It's for those who refuse to give up. The only real failure is walking away without the lesson. As long as you keep going, as long as you keep learning, failure will never have the final say. It's not easy. Failure requires resilience, patience, and a belief in yourself that remains steady even when the world seems to suggest otherwise. But every time you rise from a setback, you prove your strength. You prove that failure doesn't own you. And with that mindset, success isn't just possible, it's inevitable. People will doubt you. It's almost a guarantee. The moment you decide to chase something bigger, something that stretches beyond the ordinary, there will be voices telling you that it's impossible. Some will question your abilities, while others will dismiss your dreams entirely. And sometimes the loudest doubts will come from those closest to you, not because they don't care, but because they see the world through the lens of their own fears and limitations. But here's what you need to remember. Their opinions don't determine your future. You do. Doubt is often a reflection of someone else's insecurities, not your own. When people say, you can't do that, or that's too risky, what they're really saying is that they wouldn't have the courage to try. They project their own fears onto you, believing that if something seems unattainable for them, it must be unattainable for you too. But their perspective is limited. They don't know your resilience. They don't see the fire that burns within you, the relentless determination that refuses to be extinguished. It's easy to internalize the doubts of others. Every critical word can plant a seed of uncertainty in your mind, making you second-guess yourself. But doubt only holds power when you allow it to. If you give too much weight to the opinions of others, you risk abandoning your own path. You begin to shrink yourself to fit their expectations, settling for a life that feels safer but emptier. The tragedy isn't that they doubted you, it's that you believed them. The truth is, no one else can see your vision as clearly as you can. Your dreams were given to you for a reason. They weren't meant to be understood or validated by everyone around you. In fact, the very act of dreaming big often means standing alone, at least for a while. The people who change the world are rarely the ones who were universally supported from the start. They were the ones who faced ridicule, rejection, and disbelief and kept going anyway. When you pursue something meaningful, the doubts of others are inevitable. But instead of fearing them, let them fuel you. Let every skeptical remark serve as a reminder of why you're doing this in the first place. Proving others wrong should never be your sole motivation, but knowing that you stayed true to yourself despite the noise, that's powerful. And when you do succeed, when you reach that milestone that once seemed impossible, the same people who doubted you will be the ones wondering how you did it. It's also worth noting that sometimes doubt can come disguised as concern. People may claim they're trying to protect you, urging you to take a safer, more conventional route. While their intentions may be genuine, their advice is often rooted in fear rather than possibility. They're afraid of seeing you fail, but failure isn't the worst outcome. Regret is. Regret for the chances you didn't take, regret for the dreams you abandoned because someone else couldn't see what you saw. At the end of the day, the only person who has to live with your choices is you. Not the critics, not the doubters. You're the one who will wake up every morning knowing whether you pursued the life you truly wanted or settled for the one others deemed acceptable. And while the road will undoubtedly be challenging, there is nothing more fulfilling than proving to yourself that you were capable all along. So let them doubt, let them question, but never forget that their opinions are just that. They don't define you. They don't dictate what's possible for you. The belief that truly matters is your own. Trust it, nurture it, and watch as it leads you to a future no one else could have imagined. There's something powerful about that feeling deep inside you, the pull. It's not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's just a quiet nudge, a lingering thought that keeps returning no matter how much you try to ignore it. It's that spark of curiosity, that flutter of excitement, or that restless energy that whispers, this could be something. And yet too often we silence it. We convince ourselves it's not the right time or that we're not ready. But the truth is, when something inside you says, go for it, you have to listen, because that's where the magic happens. The pull isn't random. It's not some fleeting thought with no meaning. It's your intuition, your inner voice guiding you towards something greater. It knows what you're capable of even when your mind is clouded with doubt. It senses the opportunities that lie ahead, the growth waiting on the other side of fear. But the pull can only guide you. It can't force you to move. That choice is entirely yours. It's easy to ignore the pull, especially when logic tries to take over. Your mind will come up with 100 reasons why it's safer to stay where you are. Comfort and predictability have a way of making us forget what we're truly capable of. But growth never comes from standing still. The people who achieve extraordinary things aren't the ones who waited for certainty. They're the ones who felt the pull and followed it, even when the path was unclear. They took the leap, not because they were fearless, but because they trusted that inner knowing. And that trust, it's absolutely possible, the one you decide to move. But none of it happens if you ignore the pull. You can't wait for perfect conditions or absolute confidence, or you can't lay the majority in your life in the moment you decide to move. You can't wait for perfect conditions or absolute confidence. You just have to start. Of course, trusting the pull doesn't mean the journey will be easy. Fear will still be there, whispering doubts and worst-case scenarios. But fear and the pull often go hand in hand. In fact, the presence of fear is usually a sign that what you're considering is meaningful. The stakes are high because the reward is worth it. And when fear tries to hold you back, that's when you remind yourself why you felt the pull in the first place. Sometimes the pull will lead you to unexpected places. What you thought was your destination may turn out to be just one step on a much larger path. But that's the beauty of it. Each choice you make, each risk you take, shapes you into the person you're meant to become. Even if things don't go as planned, you'll grow, you'll gain experience, resilience, and clarity. And often, the lessons you learn along the way will prepare you for something even greater than what you originally envisioned. The people who live with the most regret aren't the ones who tried and failed, they're the ones who never tried at all. They're the ones who felt the pull and let it pass, convincing themselves that it didn't matter. But that pull doesn't come from nowhere. It's a sign that something within you is ready for more. And if you deny it, you deny yourself the chance to see what's possible. So when you feel it, that spark, that undeniable sense of what if, don't push it away. Don't wait for someone else's approval or for circumstances to feel perfect. Listen to it, trust it, because that's where the magic happens. It's where your story truly begins. So when that moment comes, when you feel that spark of curiosity or that restless pull urging you forward, don't ignore it. Don't let fear or doubt convince you to stand still. Life was never meant to be lived on the sidelines. The greatest experiences, the most extraordinary growth, and the moments that truly shape you will only happen if you're willing to take a chance. It won't always be easy. The path may twist and turn, and sometimes you'll wonder if you made the right choice. But even in those moments of uncertainty, remember this. Every chance you take brings you closer to the person you're meant to become. Success may not be immediate, and failure may cross your path, but both are part of the journey. Every stumble teaches you, every risk strengthens you. The question isn't whether you're ready. The question is whether you're willing to bet on yourself, willing to trust the pull, willing to step into the unknown, knowing that even if you fall, you'll rise stronger. Because the truth is, life doesn't wait, and neither should you. The chance you take today could be the one that changes everything.